Rusame reader, Crow Song, and today I will be reading to you from Stars and Moonflowers in Our Garden by RainbowStar_772. That's me! Now, on to Chapter 37, Slow Mornings and Study Days. Russia opened his eyes, only to find that he couldn't see much. So he moved his hands a bit, feeling warm skin under them. Not fabric, skin. Then he remembered the night before. He'd had a nightmare, and America had allowed him to stay with him. He wasn't sure where his hands were, or where he had his face. "Russ, you gotta wake up, okay?" Came America's voice. It was close to his ear, so he probably had his face in his neck. He quickly moved his face back and looked up at America dumbly. It was still quite early. "Could you, move your hands out from under my shirt?" America asked, having a bit of blush on his face. Russia felt himself light up bright red, now knowing where his hands were. As he moved his hands out, he realized America had curves. He'd been, whenever he dreamt about those sorts of things, imagining America with a more average build. But knowing he had curves, oh God, he was more attracted to him. He was already attracted to America, and didn't think he could get more attracted to the small healer. He wrapped his arms around America's chest. But seriously, what the actual fuck had he been thinking, putting his hands up America's shirt like that? "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," he mumbled, averting his gaze. "I didn't mean to do that. I hope it didn't make you uncomfortable." "It's fine. You were half asleep. You aren't making me uncomfortable. That was just a little surprising," America said, gently hugging Russia back. He eventually let go of Russia and sat up, pulling Russia with him as a result of being held onto. "You can let go, Russ," America giggled, smiling at Russia. Russia got up, a bit pouty as he let go of America. He had wanted to hold him for a while longer, so he decided to flop back down on the bed dramatically. He craved America's touch, so hugging him was nice. He hoped America would decide to play along and hug him. "All right, come here," America muttered, gently hugging Russia and pulling him out of the bed and to his feet. Russia let himself properly stand, happy that he'd gotten attention and a hug from America. "Now, you gotta get to your room and get ready. I'll see you later, okay?" Russia pouted, but gave America a quick hug before he made his way out of the room. He then made his way to his room, making it a little late. He then changed quickly and put his ushanka on. He grabbed some paper and an envelope before he went to get himself breakfast. After breakfast, he headed towards his first class today, stopping by the camomiles, finding a response from America, which he excitedly opened and read as he walked to class. "Dear Neeks, yeah, the game continues. As for your question, I am a mammal shift, so sadly your secondary guess of corvids is out. I do love corvids like crows and ravens. I happen to have one named Samuel. He's akin to a witch's familiar, but obviously I'm not a witch. I'm just a healer who can do a little magic. I love Malifaux so much. My favorite still remains as the first one you used. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Also, thank you. I just don't want anyone to get hurt. As for how I deal with attractive people outside of office hours, I haven't had to do so much. So I'm not sure if I know how I would. But I'd probably be fine unless they flirt with me. Also, thank you. I hope Natalie is a good cat for you most of the time, because mine acts like he's on opium poppies, without a prescription. at all times. Also, I'm sure I won't be uncomfortable with you after I know who you are. I'm sure I'd be fine with visiting your room and meeting Natalie. I promise I will still be comfortable with you. Shifters being unable to practice magic is a complete and utter myth. The only race that is unable is the Kaleon, but it's likely to keep them from being far too overpowered. If I remember correctly, at one point in time they had magic potential, but after one of the wars that happened, they were sealed away from magic. As for why my sclera are black, I'm not really sure, but you did use the correct term. I used to actually hide my eyes, as in the travels of my childhood, people didn't really like them and bullied me for them. The way people accepted it here is actually one of the reasons I settled here. A theory I've heard going around on Black Sclera is something that may go back to ancestors. From what I've heard, the theory is that those with ancestors proficient in dark magic, who would be proficient in it themselves, have this trait. But I'm really not willing to test that right now. I'll stick to the little bit of plant magic and healing magic I can do. But the theory is interesting to me. Also, I'm not a bat shifter, but we are generally considered to be nocturnal. Sincerely, Aku. He smiled to himself as he read and then gently folded the letter, putting it back in its envelope. He'd write his response after class. He walked over to the classroom and found that no one was there. The door wasn't open, and there was a note on the door telling him that his teacher was sick and to use today as a study day. He'd already gone over the material, so he wasn't worried about going over it more. He opened the door and went inside, and took out the letter from America. He then took out a couple sheets of paper and an envelope. He then got his inkwell and quill, and started writing. He took a while to finish the letter, then he got the envelope ready. Once the ink on both was dry, he gently folded his letter and put it in the envelope. He sealed it, then returned everything to its original state. He left the room and closed the room, and took his letter to the camomiles, carefully placing it in them. And that's the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, I'd like to invite you to join the Discord, which is linked down in the description below. That being said, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, night, or whatever it is for you. Just enjoy your time, and I will see you tomorrow!